Yeah. 2. Yeah. Aye.
Got over money.
I'm jacking the beat, you calling the cops. The yapping is cheap, I call you the ops. The rapping is hating, it's all cause of pop. You get a leak for the ball, get a drop. Feel like I'm wrong when I double it back, cause I'm making it harder to catch that. But I covered the ticket, I call you to visit. You tipping and hit up the cash app. Baby girl, been around for it, yeah. In the old days, I was stuck in old ways. Never really trying to flip the old page. Young man tripping at an old age. Thinking I was flicking, had a low wage. Led the broad days, then a slow praise. Thinking it'd be different, it would gon' change. Then it really didn't, it's a cold game, yeah. Ay, all I really wanted was the money in the pocket. Got over money, but the money ain't the topic. Like Bill Doe and the money gotta stop it. Kid need food and the whip need juice. I'ma get these views when the
What's good, baby? It's your boy Dale. I'm back in the saddle again. Our motto is to buy, build. We already bought it already, so we already own it, free and clear. Refinance to long-term debt, cash flow. That is the motto. Cliff, man, is that a pretty strong motto, man? What do you think?
Man, the model is strong. Like, you're getting each piece of the invest, right?
What it do, babies? It's your partners looking fresh, cold, clean, and always looking better than you. So while you can, take that damn picture and give it to your mama and them. And welcome to Real Estate Live. Cliff, man, what's going down, man? How was week, man? How did people, man? What's going down, baby?
Man, good week, busy, you know what I mean? So, but it's a good week, you know what I mean? So, markets going up and down, but was able to catch a couple things in the stock market, but busy week, good week.
Yeah,
How about you?
man. Doing good, man. I got to ask that question. Did we get the bag?
Oh man, got a good bag this week.
We got the bag, yeah, man. We got the bag too. We got a nice cash flow bag for your partners, man. So, guys, man, you know what it is, man. Y'all know what's going on. Y'all know what time it is, man. Let's get in with the people, man. Yo, man, Cliff, man. There's been some very interesting things going on in the market, man. You agree, man? You disagree, Doc?
Oh man, unique. We got some unique things in the market right now.
Unique things, man, guys. We're gonna go in a little bit today, guys. You know how we get it every single week, man. We're gonna look at the current market analysis, guys. We gotta look at what's going on in the market, guys. It's important to know what's going on now so you can properly plan for what's going on now and also in the future. So, Cliff, man, we gotta bring in our people, our partners, man, from Valuetainment, guys. We're gonna walk through what's going on, guys, concerning the U.S. Default situation. All right, guys, because this has a effect on the real estate market. If you agree, man, you disagree, big dog.
Oh yeah, yeah, it has a big effect.
So we're gonna dive into this, guys, and then we get into the nuts and bolts of what we'll talk about today, guys. So here we go. So let's walk into it. Let's go.
U.S. debt default is potentially catastrophic. Asks J.P. Morgan has a war room. He warned the U.S. debt default would be potentially catastrophic for the economy. Emphasized
Cliff, from the get-go, this dude said that J.P. Morgan Chase has a war room on what's going on concerning the U.S. default. J.P. Morgan Chase, a war room. My question to the folk in the back row: you got a war room in place? Because the big boys do. Let's keep going.
Emphasizing the urgency for Congress to raise the debt ceiling and avoid defaulting on financial obligations. Diamond expects panic in the markets if lawmakers fail to address the issue, leading to volatility and potential problems in both the stock and treasury markets. He stressed the need for politicians to negotiate a deal and come to an agreement. He is preparing for the risk of a default by holding regular war room meetings, which will increase in frequency as the deadline approaches. The standoff between Republicans and Democrats over the debt ceiling. Debt limit continues, with Republicans seeking spending cuts and Democrats insisting on a clean debt ceiling bill. Tom, thoughts on this?
Well, you know, we've been watching this for several years now, and it really seems like the potentially catastrophic debt ceiling is like the latest Avengers movie. We're going to have a whole lot of stress and a whole lot of things coming on, and then someone's going to save us. One day it's Spider-Man, the next day it's Ant-Man. Maybe this time it's time for Aquaman. But at the last minute, a deal gets cut, and Jamie Dimon he has seen the stalemate now going on between Kevin McCarthy and Joe Biden. And you notice that there were 3 different meetings that they had over the course of 5 days, and then it was all leaked out before McCarthy was in his limo. The White House was leaking out. Oh, McCarthy started yelling. They used the word yelling.
Wow.
You mean yelling? No, I mean hollering. No, Janet wasn't there. It was just they were hollering at each other, and the White House leaked that out to make him look bad before he even had a chance to get to the microphone. And I know you both follow this and know what I'm talking about. And I think what's about to happen is who's going to save it this time? And what Jamie Dimon is trying to do is push forward.
Wow.
To get them to come together and to agree for the 14th.
Who has leverage? Who has more leverage right now?
Good question.
The question becomes, who has more leverage? Who truly is going to wait till last second? Who's got bigger balls? And who is more worried about this hurt?
Oh, what's going on? Okay.
Their re-election, any of that stuff. Those are real questions we got to answer.
I think right now McCarthy has cards. He knows it because it's a bigger election for the Dems because they could lose the White House that they have. So right now I think McCarthy has the ability to go that 5% further and get them to blink on his terms. But make no mistake, the debt ceiling's going up. It's just going to be what other concessions are underneath that deal. That's what I think.
What we're watching there is a marketing campaign for a game of chicken. That's what it is. You've had the 2 marketing campaigners that have come out in the last couple of weeks. Janet Yellen has come out and panicked everybody about what's going to happen if the debt ceiling doesn't get raised. She's been on every single TV station. And the next pawn in the marketing campaign is Jamie Dimon. But ultimately, I think everyone knows, American or non-American, knows that they're not going to default on their debt. The U.S. isn't going to default on their debt.
Yeah.
It's a negotiating tactic. It's a negotiating play between the Dems and the Republicans. And I think I'm in the same camp as you, where I think McCarthy's got 5% more, and that's it. That's where it ends. The U.S. ain't going to default.
Yeah, I don't follow the politics too much, but from a macro standpoint, I don't usually say this, but I actually agree with Jamie Dimon. I think he's understating it. If they default on those T-bills, you got Mad Max.
Let me put it to you this way. I had my 2-hour quarterly meeting with my Goldman Sachs guy before this meeting. He flew in. We had lunch at the house, and we talked about it. And their position was to move money at a certain bond because they're not fully sure for now on what's going to happen between May, June, maybe July. We revisit. I'm like, Goldman's taking that position? Yeah. Why is Goldman taking that position? You never know. In the history of the last 100 years, only 6 countries have defaulted. And we've never defaulted, like Russia, Argentina, Germany, Greece, Lebanon, Greece, Venezuela. It's really, those 6 have defaulted. Okay. Wow. You guys are thinking we may be one? No, we're not saying we are. We just think we have to be ready. Okay.
Oh, wow. So
then you hear, the numbers comes out on how much we have in our Treasury General account, right? Our GDP right now is $23.5 trillion, but we only have $200 billion in that account. That's like somebody making $239 a year, $239,000 a year, and you got $200 in savings. That's America today. Okay, that's current America's financial situation. $200 billion sounds like a lot of money. We don't have a lot of money, but for me, this is what it's going to come down to.
Listen,
I don't remember when the whole midterms was going back and forth, and they thought it was going to be a red wave, and McCarthy thought he wasn't going to need anybody from the MAGA camp. It's like, I don't give a shit what those guys say. We can do whatever we want to do to them, and they're like, oh, that's how you talk to us behind closed doors? No problem. It's not a red wave. So guess who you need to negotiate with? You need to negotiate with the guy you hate the most. What's his name? Matt Gaetz. I'm right here. Let's negotiate. You got to call Trump. Last minute here, call him. He's got on the phone, all this stuff. Because Trump is a ball-busting negotiator that's willing to use the threats. Like the whole thing in the CNN town hall that he says, so, when you were president, you said this. And then, yeah, that's when I was president. But what's the difference between now? Because I'm not the president today, right? Because he knows how to use leverage.
Yeah, he does.
McCarthy have that kind of backbone to really negotiate and get everything he wants? I don't know if he has that kind of backbone, quite frankly. Based on what you hear from a lot of different people, he's more part of the, swamp camp than some of these other guys are because, they're all negotiating with each other. What ends up happening here, at the end of the day, of course they're going to end up figuring out a way not to
Yes.
default. You heard Trump said, let him default. Let him go through it. That's the DNA of a negotiator that's willing to go all the way to say, no problem, let's go ahead and do this. Because in reality let's just say they do default, okay? Who loses? Well, President Biden, can you imagine? Because of Congress, Congress is the reason why we default. And if it wasn't for Congress, President Biden, 100 years from now, when history books write who defaulted, no one's going to say Congress, because ain't no one going to remember McCarthy unless if he becomes the president.
Yeah.
They're going to say there was a president. They call him the worst president of all time, second to Jimmy Carter, and he beat Jimmy Carter. His name is Joe Biden. Son, 100 years ago, this guy was the president that defaulted. The concern of putting the fear on Congress should not be afraid right now.
At all.
Congress should sit there and say, it's kind of like the movie Air. I don't know if you've seen the movie Air with Michael Jordan, and Ben Affleck is playing the role, and Sonny is played by Matt Damon. And Matt Damon sits down in the boardroom and is having this conversation with Michael and says, Michael, let's face it,
see that movie.
no one's going to remember us.
So that guys, that goes on for a lot longer. Cliff, man, let's give people some wisdom, brother, on what you just heard, man. Concerning what you just heard, Patrick and the squad actually say. What do you think what's going down with this U.S. default?
To me, I'm not really sure what's all going on with it in terms of what the end goal is. Because if you really are trying to pay down debt and you're not taking a shot at the two biggest problems, which is Social Security and Medicare, which I think is like 85% of the debt, right there, then you just, what are we doing? We fighting over 1%, 2%, 3%.
Yeah.
You know, so I understand. So really, we're just doing stuff around the edges. But at the end of the day, if they default, it's going to be catastrophic.
Okay, here are my thoughts on this, and I can kind of shake hands with what Patrick was talking about as far as him finding out people from Goldman Sachs. I'm having those discussions now,
right?
And people are trying to give me money because of what's going on. So there is some fear in the market concerning what's going on with the default. Do I believe they're going to figure it out? Hell yes. Do I believe there's a lot of fear mongering going on? Hell yes. Is this a PR stunt on both sides? Hell yes. But the question is, if your plan is predicated upon the default not happening, you SOL as it is right now, because they're playing with you. This is all a bunch of jargon. That's all it is. Here's the thing that I want you to really pay attention to. It's from the get-go, from the video, Patrick read how Jamie Dimon, the chairman and CEO of the largest bank in the world, as far as commercial bank, I believe is JP Morgan Chase, right? They actually having multiple war rooms of what's going on. They're in planning mode. They're not waiting at all. They're in planning mode. And so what I'm hearing these I'm gonna call them fools say, which is fools in Congress and the executive branch, I ain't listening to nothing they saying. I'm looking at what JP Morgan Chase is doing. I'm looking at what Patrick Davis is doing. I'm looking at what the business types, Bank of America, the big boys are doing. Damn what these politicians are talking about. Because they're gonna feed you the bullshit. They're gonna feed you the bullshit. Do you agree or disagree?
No, I agree.
That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying, man. It's nothing but a PR stunt. Patrick is right. No one's going to remember Congress. They're all going to remember the president. So Biden has more to lose than McCarthy does. McCarthy, he's very oddly, now I wouldn't say oddly, I said confidently patient. Well, he knows. And so, go ahead.
To me, Biden lost negotiation. When he said, we will not negotiate, and they said, okay, let's negotiate.
That lets me know he's a crappy negotiator. How many times, Cliff, have you and I have these discussions, guys, concerning portfolio properties, apartment complexes? We're going through this right now when it comes to apartment complex in East Lansing, Michigan. We're going through that right now. And the one thing that we see all the time is they'll come all the time with Cliff and they'll say, this is our price point. We say, is there negotiating? No. Okay. And we walk away.
Yeah.
What happens all the time, Cliff? Do they come back or do they do something else?
Oh man, a lot of times they come back.
And when they come back, is the price point cheaper or the same?
Oh, it's cheaper.
That's called negotiating. Negotiating, guys. Cliff is spot on. When Biden said there's no negotiating, then came back and said there's a negotiating, he lost.
Yeah.
He showed his hand. Showed his hand. But guys, man, there's something going on real quickly, guys, in Florida. Okay? For those, I see people in the chat on Instagram are saying that they actually have some investments going on in Florida. You want to pay special attention to what's going on right now because there is a 30% Florida correction coming. It's coming. You may say, Dale, why is that? Why do you believe that that's coming? I'm glad you asked, guys. Let's look at the facts, and then what me and Cliff would do is we would then unpack what he's talking about. But I want you to listen to how this came about. Florida is probably the hottest state in the union. Texas is probably number 2, but Florida is far beyond number 1. But that's what's happening with that. That's what's going on, right, guys? So let's look at this real quickly. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Florida's housing market is on the verge of collapse, and I think home prices in Florida could go down by as much as 30% over the next couple years. Because right now, Florida's housing market is a massive 31% overvalued, which makes it the 5th most overvalued housing market in America. And
I want you guys to hear that. People walked in and bought these properties. People were actually flocking to Florida, right? They were flocking to Florida. And what happened, Cliff will be right back. They were flocking into Florida. And what happened was in the flocking to Florida, people were overpaying for these properties. Hence, how they are the 5th state that has been overpriced. Let's keep going.
And I fear for many of the people who are buying in Florida's housing market right now, who have bought recently, because a lot of them don't remember what happened to Florida in the last housing crash from 2008 to 2012. Did you know that home prices in Florida went down 50% in that last downturn? If you bought a house in Miami in 2007 for $500,000, it was worth $250,000 5 years later. Now, I don't
Cliff, there was, I was listening to Patrick McDavid. He was talking about a property in Florida. It was a commercial property. It's a skyscraper, right? They actually had it on sale for, I believe, $40 million. $40 million. Patrick came in and said, you know what? I'll give you $20 million for it. They said no. They wound up selling the building for $18 million. $40 million down to $18 million. That's more than 50%, right?
Yep.
Let's keep going. We ain't done.
I don't think this crash is going to be as bad. It's going to be more like 30%. But what scares me is that I see a lot of people in Florida who somehow think that that can't happen. They think that Florida's housing market is untouchable and that so many people will continue to move there and keep the housing market growing. And no doubt, a lot of people have moved to Florida. 440,000, in fact, in 2022, according to data from Reventure App. That was an all-time high level in Florida migration. However, what do you notice, everyone? If you go back to the mid-2000s, Florida had a similar spike in migration. And then that migration crashed down during the recession. And as I'm going to show you in this video, I think those migration numbers to Florida are already plummeting right now. We haven't seen it in the official data. We will soon. And that's a big problem because the local home buyers in Florida cannot afford houses and mortgage payments. Folks, I want you to think about this.
Didn't I say, Cliff, didn't we say that people went in and overpaid for these properties, manufactured a pay raise. Now they owe more in debt and less in savings, and now they cannot afford these mortgage payments because they were actually buying properties with a high interest rate. Did we not say that at all, Cliff?
Yep. We called that a while back.
But we were told we were fear mongering. We know what we were talking about. Hey, it's something called numbers, facts. Let's keep going.
It's low right now. The values are low because there's no buyers on the market at all. And if you're I've seen it personally, where you start to see the days on market. Pay attention to the days on market. Because when in a hot market, man, you throw it up, you get multiple offers. When it's slow, you throw it up, 30 days go by, 60 days go by. You got to pay attention to how long it's taking to sell because every day it takes longer. Price keeps going down and down.
Guys, it's he ain't done, y'all. He ain't done. We ain't done. Let's keep going.
Median household in Florida earns $64,000 a year. In Miami, Fort Lauderdale, it's $66,000. In Northport, Sarasota, it's $70,000. In Tampa, St. Pete, it's $64,000. In Orlando, it's $68,000. In Lakeland, it's $57,000. So Florida is a pretty low income place, which now has home prices and house payments that are too high. Which you can see if I switch this data point on Reventure app to house payment as percentage of median income, you can see some crazy figures. Basically in Florida, if you're a local who wants to buy a house, you need to spend between 40 and 50% of your income on mortgage interest, taxes, and insurance. Quite literally, Florida is now just as expensive for local home buyers as Massachusetts, as New York, as Utah, as well as parts of California. It's lost its affordability allure, which a lot of actually wealthier people are now starting to notice. For instance, Peter Thiel just went on record in saying that moving to Florida from Silicon Valley is too expensive. He wouldn't do it. He's saying that if you buy a house in Miami today versus just 3 years ago, you're paying 4 times as much for your monthly mortgage payment. Florida used to be cheap. It's no longer cheap, and thus fewer people are going to want to move there. The migration is going to go down, and the housing market is going to have a downturn. This is in fact healthy and something we are already seeing playing out, with Redpin reporting that demand for vacation homes is down more than 50% from pre-pandemic levels.
Airbnb, that's talking to you. Verbo is talking to you. I mean, this is numbers. Go ahead, Cliff.
Yeah, so I'm starting to see but the overall, so he's doing the percentage, which I get that, and that's smart. That's a way to look at it. But from a pure number standpoint, it ain't Massachusetts, it ain't New York, it ain't California.
Not at all.
Those are $1 million. Those are $900,000, $800,000 for 1,200 square feet.
Yes.
In Miami, you're gonna pay a lot, but you're not gonna pay that like you will in San Francisco, Los Angeles, Hollywood, Silicon Valley. You know what I'm saying? They got two, so it's not the same as New York where you got Queens, you got Brooklyn, Manhattan. It ain't the same.
No, it ain't the same. Percentage, he's making the percentage argument, and that makes total sense what he's saying. And what he's saying is actually true. But from a dollars per dollars perspective, Cliff is spot on. It is nowhere near California, New York. Let's stop the cap. Let's stop the cap.
Right.
Come on, y'all. Come on. But man, Airbnb and Verbo. We told y'all it was coming. Told y'all it was coming. Okay. So that's Florida. That's Florida, guys. Real quick. Let's hear some more.
You can see the big increase in mortgage rate locks for second and vacation homes that occurred in 2020 and 2021. Well, that has now crashed to its lowest level since 2015 or 2016. And Florida, of course, has some of the most second and vacation home buying of any state in America. That's something that really runs the Florida housing market. And so a big drop in that type of demand is going to cause inventory to go up. I'm sure you're all hearing about and frustrated by low inventory on the U.S. housing market, but Florida is actually a state that does not have low inventory. In fact, the number of homes for sale on the Florida housing market, according to data from Realtor.com on Reventure app, is up 116% year over year. What do you notice, folks? Florida's inventory growth is actually the highest in America. There's more than 2 times as many homes on the Florida housing market today than there were a year ago. The biggest growth in inventory, Utah's number 2, Tennessee's number 3, Arizona's number 4, South Carolina's number 5. So if you're a would-be home buyer in Florida, pay attention to this data. I'm showing you, everyone. Inventory is way up. Second home buying is way down. We have big people in tech and finance saying they wouldn't move to Florida because it's too expensive. All occurring in a housing market that's one of the most overvalued and unaffordable for local home buyers in America, meaning that it's still a bad time to buy. Of course,
this right here, when he said bad time to buy, let's come back to me and Cliff real fast. All right, guys? We're still on this here. When it comes to that, the bad time to buy caveat is predicated upon your negotiating skills. And if you're buying a homestead or an investment property. Would you agree, Cliff?
Oh, 100%. Because if you're already buying 30% below market value, when it drops 30%, you still straight.
For sure. That's called cushion equity, right?
Right.
Oh,
That's
man,
why you buy that way, for situations like this. So whenever you're doing investing, you're trying to get a discount. Why? Because of this.
Thank you.
Because the market can shift and things can
Yes.
go down, and you can look at your portfolio and go, we're gonna be cool because
Yeah.
we got equity, we straight.
Yeah. That's it, guys. So again, it comes to the skill of knowing how to locate a distressed property, as well as the skill to negotiate increased value via scope of work or renovation, and then positioning the right debt, right, to acquire and to exit. Because right now, flipping in this economy, although you can do it, it's going to be some holding time on flipping. You agree, Cliff?
Oh yeah, yeah. You can still flip, but
Yes.
that's if you got a huge equity. You're on a hot part of town that still has some demand. I still see it out there. I'm doing several properties right now where days on market was pretty low. That's because they're in
Yeah.
a hot area.
That's
But
correct.
trying to flip in this market, unless you got something that's like I said in a high demand area, I'd stay away.
I agree 100%. Now, guys, that's Florida, but we have a comment on Instagram that says you can negotiate contingencies easier. Yes, you can. This is if you are a great negotiator, this is a good time to buy because you get to test those negotiating skills. And me and Cliff, we love to negotiate. I love it. It's fun. It's really fun to me. It's like basketball fun to me. Fun. I love it. I love it. But it's all good, man. Guys, now this one right here it surprised me initially, but as I begin to look into it, I'm not surprised. This right here looks just like what happened in 2008 with Silver Leafs. They did the exact same thing that BlackRock just did. Y'all, BlackRock is exiting the real estate market. Then what you mean? I'm glad you asked, Plil. Don't you worry about it. It's your partners. We here. We're going back to our mans and them again. BlackRock. See what BlackRock was doing is they were actually buying properties in bulk and paying 25, 30, 40, 50% over the asking price. Stupid. Right? Stupid. But here's what they were doing: is they were doing this with none of their money. They were doing it with your money. With your money. With your money. They fleeced you. You know? And then what's happening is, I ain't gonna give too much of those stories. Here we go, guys. Let's see what he's talking about. Here we go.
Wall Street landlords are abandoning the U.S. housing market. They've stopped buying, and very soon they're going to start selling. With Fortune reporting that Wall Street is running away from the U.S. housing market. With Wall Street buyers like Blackstone, Open Door, and Invitation Homes purchasing 90% fewer homes at the start of 2023.
90%. Cliff. 90% fewer. That's ridiculous. 90%. Cliff. That's a lot, ain't it, brother?
Oh yeah. I think they're all getting out the market. So you've got the big boys, right? You got BlackRock. The other one you got is Redfin. You also have Zillow, Open Door. Open Door is down like 90% in value. So all the people who try to do mass buying have all failed. They've all failed. They couldn't do it.
Wasn't this the same thing that Silver Leafs did in 2008?
Right. Yeah.
It's the same thing, y'all. There's nothing new under the sun. Let's keep going, y'all. Let's keep going. Numbers, math. Here we go.
2023 compared to 2022. This is of course great news for you as a regular home buyer or a small investor out there. It means you're not going to have as much competition from these big Wall Street players, especially in certain housing markets throughout the South. Data from Redfin shows that in 2022, the biggest markets for investor home purchases were cities like Jacksonville, Atlanta, Phoenix, where in certain zip codes like in Wynwood and Miami, the investors bought 65% of the houses. So I'm expecting home prices to go down by a lot more in these markets and zip codes in the South, because there's a vicious combination of three factors that is causing these Wall Street buyers to run scared. Number one, skyrocketing evictions are leading to higher vacancy rates in empty apartments and homes. Number two, rent growth is declining substantially and going negative in many cities. But perhaps most importantly, number three, higher interest and mortgage rates are making it impossible for these investors to turn a profit. As you can see very clearly on this graph, which tracks the 30-year fixed mortgage rate, the orange line, compared to the cap rate or investor profit for these Wall Street landlords, the green line. And what do you notice, folks? The 30-year fixed mortgage rate now being 6.4%. That's roughly the cost cost of capital that these investors have to pay to their banks, that's higher than the 4.6% cap rate or return they get from buying a property and renting it out. And one of the Wall Street buyers that has cut back purchases the most is Invitation Homes. They're actually the largest single-family home owner in America. They own over 85,000 houses. But you can see from this Fortune article that after the mortgage rate shock, their number of acquisitions, the green bars, has now plummeted to the lowest levels.
Look at that, Cliff. Look at that, bro. This is the largest single-family residency landlord in the nation. Look at the decline. It's ridiculous, ain't it, bro?
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. That is amazing to see. But
Amazing to see.
so that tells you if the big boys are gone, it's only the little guys left. And if you can get in there and start trying to pick them up, now's the time.
I'm smelling opportunity.
Yeah.
I'm smelling opportunity. Cliff, tell some folk, man, real fast, man. Well, real fast before we get back to this, man. Real fast, guys. Cliff, tell some folk real quickly, brother. Don't give them the city because we ain't giving you all of our cookies. All right, but tell them that the type of deals that you are coming across, bro. When you look at it, tell them some of the give them a little bit of numbers. Give them a little bit of numbers.
Oh, I'm seeing deals in a couple of different cities, and I'm looking at, like, I know St. Louis and Detroit. I'm still big on Detroit. I think Detroit is undervalued, but I'm seeing deals that you could pick up in the 30s, 40s that have ARVs 80 to 100K, 50%. Looking at 50% off deals.
I'm seeing some. Go ahead.
But there's a caveat for that, Dan.
Come on.
What is that? What's the thing y'all got to understand? We are basing these values and then what the appraisal will be off the last year. But as we move forward, if you buy in the future, what numbers are they going to base on? The numbers now. So the future appraisals are going to come in lower.
Oh,
So
say
you
that
have
again.
to buy now.
Say that again.
Appraisers use current data. So we only have the past year. So there are some high-priced homes in the past year because we've been slightly going down.
Yeah.
But in the future, when they look back, they're going to look at now and what are prices? You just saw the charts. They're going to show low prices and low values.
Look at this, y'all. He ain't bullshitting. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is great, guys. Again. Yes, prices and values are going down. I'm looking at some luxury homes right now in Miami, Florida, Cliff. You've seen a couple of them. I believe we got bad numbers saying that it's $4 million, and I'm like, man, get the hell out of here. And so I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at it about maybe around like 3 million, 2.8. And so they're saying, well, we want like 2.7 for it. I'm like, Nick, please. I'll give you 1.7 for it. No deal. Thank you for your time. Guess who's calling me back? Them same people. Now it's 1.5. Yes, 1.5. Yes. Again, negotiating, guys. Cliff is correct. We showed you those numbers for BlackRock real fast, guys, not to scare you, but to show you there's an opportunity out there for those that are ready. So that means if you want to do a wholesaling, if you know your numbers, this is a good opportunity for you. If you want to fix and flip in the right area with the right strategy and the right team, yes, you can do that. If you want a rental, which is buy and hold, yes. You can do that. Cliff, man, give them a sense of, there's a town in Mississippi that you were sending me properties at. You were actually telling me the price points and the renovation and then the ARV. Man, what were those numbers, Doc?
Oh, we got a couple of them, man. I got a couple in Jackson where we're looking at I'm trying to think. Like I said, mostly I'm seeing them in the 30s and 40s. Some of them in the 20s.
Some in the 20s.
And a lot of opportunity. We've been saying it for a while, the small towns. I'm trying to build up teams in that. It's going to take you a little bit of time, but once you do, you can start doing a lot of acquisitions in those areas.
Yes. This is the reason why, guys, I always say joint venture investing is going to be one of the most powerful tools to use because you need real money to buy real estate, but not your money. You need a strategy to buy real estate, but maybe not your strategy. You may need credit to leverage, but maybe not your credit. So joint venture investing is a powerful tool to use. Powerful tool to use. Unless you're greedy. And if you're greedy, I'm going to crush you. I'm going to crush you. And I mean it respectfully. Respectfully. Because we have a squad behind us that moves very quickly. Very quickly. And we know our numbers. Whether it's apartment complex, a new construction, or SFR. We him. And we ready. Would you agree, Cliff?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Now I've been saying it for a while. Now's the time. So if you're looking at opportunities, start throwing some offers. Throw an offer out. See what happens. The days on market. I saw first time I've seen in a long time a nice 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square feet. Nothing wrong with it. Brick exterior. 160 days on market. So we're seeing weakness.
What
weakness
city
in
was
the
that
market.
in? What city was that in?
That was a Mesquite.
Mesquite, Texas. Texas. So we went through Florida at the beginning. Now we in Texas. These are the two hottest states in the union. And the corrections here, I give you my assessment. Dallas, Fort Worth, 20 to 25% correction. And let me know if you agree. I would say Austin, 50. 50% Austin. Houston, about 40. About 40. The reason why is because those places are very inflated. Very inflated. Austin was another place where people actually flocked from California to Texas, and then went to Austin. And it's the worst ran city in the state. Regulatory as well as from a management portion when it comes to the city council and the mayor. Trash ran city. Coupled with bad financing. Yep. 50%. And this is Texas, y'all. This is Texas. San Antonio, about 30%.
Yeah,
Yes,
I can see that
sir.
from the peak. From the peak, yeah, I can see that.
From the peak, guys. So again, guys, if you want to learn how to acquire distressed properties, guys, it's nothing like learning on demand, right? People always ask me and Cliff, can we mentor them? The answer is yes. Here's the thing about it when it comes to the answer being yes. It's very simple, guys. We can, but what if you actually have that training on demand with our tools as well also? With access to us to call. Here's my big thing. We can train you on demand, but I'd much rather you get the bulk of the training walking through a deal after you learn how to locate a distressed property. Bring the deal. If the deal is valuable, money will follow the deal. Would you agree, Cliff?
Exactly. Yeah, money always follows the deal.
That's it. Learn how to locate distressed properties. Bring that to the table. Money will flock if the numbers are correct. This tells you how to do all of that. All of that. On demand. There it is. Right. On demand. So, but Cliff, man, that's all I have for today, man. You want to add anything else before we lead up?
No, keep checking in. Tell people we trying to have a discussion. We trying to have people join in. So get to the course, hop back on, chime in when you see us on live, hit us up on the DMs, and we're gonna be back here every week, same time.
Same time. And guys, also this here is we are thinking about doing a free mastermind. A free mastermind class with limited seats, about 20 to 30 seats, probably about 20 seats. All right, to where it'll be a first come, first serve. It'll be absolutely free. You can come in and ask me and Cliff any question you want about anything real estate. I even include private equity in it as well. Anything you want, ask us. Free, doesn't cost you a dime. All you gotta do is just sign up. Name, email address. What happens is you get a link. We'll put that together as we speak now, right? And then we'll roll that out. It's gonna be first come, first serve. Ask us anything you want to ask us. All right. So, anyways, man, guys, thank you so much for your time, guys. You know how we end it every time we get off, y'all. Before you leave, and while you can, you see that thing, baby. Don't get mad at us because we look better than you. Take that damn picture and give it to your mama now, and holler at your partners. God bless you guys. Have a good weekend.
Peace.
Peace.
God give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give thanks. Bless God, give